My daughter, congratulations. Oh, congratulations. Big Mama exclaimed with a broad smile as she received the card. But as soon as Chika left, her face darkened. David, she muttered, staring at the name on the card. She went to her idol, placed the card before it, and whispered, "Make sure this wedding never happens. Destroy him abroad," she said to the idol. "Chika, you want to get married while I'm still here? Come and get married now. Let me see how you will get married." They called her Big Mama, the ageless woman of Oha village, but beneath her kind smile lay a heart consumed by envy. No one in the village dared to question her, for every misfortune seemed to trace back to her shadow. In the peaceful village of Oguta in Imo State, Nigeria, lived a woman everyone revered. Her name was Madame Ruby, but she was popularly called Big Mama because of her shape and size. She had lived for so long that people believed she was older than the village itself. She never aged, and the street where she lived was named after her as a mark of respect, being the first person to build a house and start living on that street. She was revered, and all matters concerning the street were brought to her to delegate on. "Big Mama, good morning, Ma," villagers would say as they passed by her little bungalow. "Good morning, my children," she would reply, sitting in front of her store where she sold pepper soup and agidi. Though the villagers adored her, they saw her as a reputable old woman. But Big Mama was not what they thought she was. Big Mama hid a dark secret. Beneath her kind smile and wise advice was a jealous heart. She despised anyone who dared to be more prosperous than she was. She had no husband or children, therefore no woman around her was meant to get married or bear children. No one was allowed to build a house bigger than hers or even drive a finer car without drawing her ire. Hidden in her house was an ancient idol she had inherited from her forefathers. Whenever someone in the village prospered, she would visit the idol to bring them down and make them very poor, like a church mouse. She always sat at her small store to monitor people passing by. If she saw you with a big car or wearing beautiful clothes, it was a problem. If you passed without greeting her, it was also a big problem. Villagers loved to buy her pepper soup and agidi, not knowing it was prepared with lots of evil charms to cause their downfall. One day, Chika, a very beautiful and cheerful young woman, announced her engagement to David, a doctor living in the UK. The news spread like wildfire. "I am getting married," Chika beamed as she handed out her wedding invitation cards. When Chika gave her best friend Simi a card, Simi asked, "Have you given Big Mama one?" Chika frowned. "No, something about her doesn't sit right with me. My spirits don't really like nor accept her." Chika, who does anything in this village without letting Big Mama know? You must invite her. Oh, she's an elder. She will bless your union," Simi urged. Reluctantly, Chika visited Big Mama the next morning with the invitation card. "My daughter, congratulations, congratulations, Big Mama exclaimed with a broad smile as she received the card. But as soon as Chika left, her face darkened. "David," she muttered, staring at the name on the card. She went to her idol, placed the card before it, and whispered, "Make sure this wedding never happens. Destroy him abroad," she said to the idol. As she stepped out of the idol room, she laughed. "Chika, you want to get married while I'm still here? Come and get married now. Let me see how you will get married." A week before the wedding, David prepared to travel to Nigeria. At the airport, immigration officers stopped him. "Open your bag," they said to him. David was confused but complied. He opened his bag and the officials searched thoroughly, only to find packets of white, neatly packed substances inside. "Oh my God, I am a medical doctor, not a criminal. I don't know how this thing got into my bag," David exclaimed in shock. The cries of David fell on deaf ears. He was arrested, tried, and thrown into prison. Back in Oha, Chika waited anxiously for David's arrival. She waited and waited without any message from him. 2 days before the wedding, David's parents called her with the devastating news. "My daughter, David is in prison. The wedding is cancelled," David's mother told her over the phone. Chika's world shattered. She cried uncontrollably, locking herself indoors. The news circulated that there wouldn't be a wedding anymore. While some villagers sympathized with her, others, like Big Mama, were happy and whispered, "Maybe it is not meant to be." That serves her right. She was feeling like a superstar. Big Mama visited Chika that day, pretending to be concerned. "My daughter, I am so sorry. Take this pepper soup and agidi to console yourself," she said sweetly. Unknown to Chika, the pepper soup was charmed to make her never get suitors again. Chika accepted the food, but trusting her instincts, she threw it away as soon as Big Mama left. As Big Mama was on her way home from Chika's house, she saw a very beautiful house under construction. She stopped and asked the laborers who the owner of the project was, and they told her. She immediately packed sand from the building site and rushed home to her idol. After a week, it was announced that the owner of the building project had died after losing a contract worth millions. Villagers began to get worried. Nobody was doing well financially aside from Big Mama. There was no good news in the village, only bad news everywhere. What could be wrong? What is going on? They kept asking each other. Out of shame, Chika left Oha and moved to a nearby village. There she began attending church and visiting prayer mountains, praying for God's intervention over David's case. One day, during prayers, a prophet approached her. "You have been cursed by someone you know," he said. "Who, sir?" Chika asked, trembling. "Who is Madame Ruby to you?" the prophet asked. Chika was a bit confused. Then she remembered that Big Mama's name was Madame Ruby. "Oh, Big Mama, you mean? She is the elder from my street back at the former village where I stayed," Chika gasped. Dear viewers, before we continue the story, if you are enjoying this story, please support our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button. Also, like this video, drop a comment and share it to help us get YouTube recommendations to other viewers. Thanks so much and God bless. The prophet revealed Big Mama's evil deeds and how she had been the one behind Chika's predicaments. He assured Chika that David would be freed if she fasted and prayed for 21 days. He also warned her, "You must return to Oha to save others from her grip, for they are all in great danger. Big Mama needs to be exposed before it is too late." Chika agreed and commenced her fasting and prayer. Meanwhile, as the year was about to end, villagers planned a grand street carnival. Big Mama was informed, and she insisted on being in charge of cooking the jollof rice for the youth. People tried to persuade her not to cook but rest because she was too old to be stressed. But she insisted, "It is my street, let me handle it," she argued. Unknown to the villagers, she planned to poison the jollof rice with charms to steal their destinies. On the 21st day of Chika's fast, which was the same day as the carnival, the prophet rushed to her. "Something terrible is about to happen in Oha. We must go now," the prophet said. Back in Oha, Big Mama and other women had started cooking. Big Mama warned that the jollof rice should be served strictly to the youth of the village. She had secretly poured her charm into the big pot of rice. It was evening already, and villagers were gathering for the party. The party kicked off, and everyone was having fun. Chika and the prophet arrived at the carnival just as the food was being served. The prophet climbed onto the stage and called for silence. "Silence, everyone! Stop eating! Bring the cook here!" Villagers murmured in confusion. "What is happening here? Who is this man? Have you come to marry or pray?" they asked each other. Big Mama was immediately called from the kitchen, her face pale with fear. The prophet began to pray and speaking in tongues, and then Big Mama suddenly began to shake him violently as the prophet commanded, "Confess, confess now. I poisoned the food. I wanted to destroy the youth. Yes, I poisoned the food, she screamed, falling to her knees. Gasps filled the air as the villagers brought the bowl of jollof rice to her. Eat it, they all shouted. No, I can't, she cried. The prophet continued praying and speaking in tongues. Big Mama confessed everything, her idols, her jealousy, and the curses she had placed on the villagers. That night, the carnival turned into a powerful prayer session. The villagers prayed fervently, breaking Big Mama's curses. The next morning, news spread. Big Mama had died in her sleep. Some rejoiced, while others felt she deserved to suffer more. Her burial was arranged by the village committee, and she was laid to rest in her small compound. Weeks later, David was released from prison and reunited with Chika. They had a beautiful wedding, and soon after, prosperity returned to the village of Oha. People began to marry and have children. The once cursed Chase Street was no longer a place of sorrow, but became the pride of the village, lined with new houses, happy families, and thriving businesses. One day, Chika walked down the street, now renamed Freedom Avenue, and smiled. "This is what we have always deserved," she said. And so, the village of Oha flourished, free from the shadow of Big Mama forever. Envy and wickedness may thrive for a time, but truth and justice will always prevail. What is built on evil will crumble, while the innocent and righteous will find redemption. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to NaijaTrends TV for more captivating stories and lessons from our rich culture. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. What did you think of Big Mama's fate? Until next time, stay blessed, stay inspired, and always remember, no matter the challenges, good will always triumph over evil. See you in the next video.